Hi everyone, I'm Airier, and today we're going to check out Kyle Hill's dead internet theory video. Now, I've actually heard about this theory where essentially the internet is dead of human life because all of the remaining accounts or postings are from AI, generating AI believed or assumed content that a human would say to other AI who can then consume it and spread out more bullshit AI stuff. So essentially, AI on AI talk fests. That said, I only know about that as literally everything I just said, and I know that's a very small, lowdown, most likely wrong interpretation of this entire theory. And I've heard enough on channels like Mudahar, so I figured, you know what? Kyle Hill's authoritative on a lot of topics that usually involve nuclear radiation. They're absolutely fascinating. I trust his judgment. I want to figure out what he has to say about this. You guys know the deal. There's a link below to the original video. Hit it up. Let's get started.
Welcome back. We bring you breaking news from OpenAI's live event.
A new version of ChatGPT-4.
Yeah.
That's their latest and greatest model.
This new experience will be available to over 1 billion users.
I'm going to be interviewing at OpenAI. Have you heard of them?
OpenAI? Huh? Sounds vaguely familiar. Kidding, of course. That's incredible, Rocky. What kind of interview?
You said that this is a time for soul searching in
Yeah, I think I get where he's starting with this. It's like, hey, this is great, followed by this is creepy, followed by oh shit. I'm assuming we're about to hit the oh shit part.
social media businesses, and you were part of building the largest one.
I feel tremendous guilt. It is eroding the core
I don't know who any of these
foundations
people
of
are.
how people behave.
Although he looks
by
familiar for
between
some
each
reason.
other.
My worst fears are that we cause significant.
Oh,
we,
that's
the
Sam
field,
Altman?
The technology.
That is Sam Altman. I keep hearing about his name. I didn't realize he looked like every 80s movie protagonist who's in high school and, you know, somehow looks like they're in their 30s. And yet it's like, I'm the bad boy who's not so bad as to go to detention, unless it's the Breakfast Club. He looks like every 80s protagonist. Dear God.
The industry cause significant harm to the world. I think if this technology goes wrong, it can go quite wrong.
An anomaly on Capitol Hill.
What?
Private tech CEOs asking for more government regulation.
How long did this come out? 7 days? I'm pretty sure they also then immediately doubled down on everything they didn't say, because wasn't this followed by merging with Microsoft from OpenAI's end and him being removed because he was too gung-ho, and then immediately throwing out the previous board because money. I mean, I'm sure that wasn't stated as the reason, but money.
It's usually the other way around.
Windows 95? Oh God, not this. This is creepy.
If you're old enough to remember a time before the internet, you remember just how momentous the establishment of the World Wide Web really was. Within a generation, your digital life became more important than your physical one.
Oh, that's... Oh shit, it's like it's recognizable as Facebook, but it looks so different. Mostly because it's actual people's comments. I see where this is going. Yeah. Also, I was going to say I was born before the internet in the 90s, then I realized the internet was around well before that. Yeah, it's hard to remember that part. Feels like it really took off in the late 90s, but really it was around in the 80s.
Your digital reputation
I don't even know.
was all that mattered. But then, around 8 years ago, the internet died.
8 years ago?
At least, this is the contention of the so-called
Minesweeper.
dead internet conspiracy theory. It sounded crazy at first, but I'm a believer now.
Really? So this started as a conspiracy theory 8 years ago. Huh. That's odd. I never even heard of this prior to recently.
The killer?
Maybe it became accidentally real?
Artificial intelligence.
Oh, it's the different breakup screens you might get. Never seen the green one. Granted, I'm okay with never having to see it either.
Most analyses of the dead internet theory trace back to this one thread on the Agora Roads Macintosh Cafe forum.
Did they actually have a waifu for the forum? 8 years? Oh yeah, 2021. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Originally compiled by several anonymous users in the January of 2021. It's a mishmash of anecdote, conspiracy, and classically offensive 4chan language that claims that the internet died sometime around 2016. Its most bombastic claim is that, quote, the US government is engaging in an artificial intelligence-powered gaslighting of the entire world population.
Okay, that part's ridiculous, if only because history has shown that the U.S. government doesn't do it. It's usually just the CIA. And that's usually done by killing dictators in foreign countries and or people we like to claim are dictators that are also publicly commented on. There's many books written about it. Like, seriously, it's not even a secret anymore. People just don't look it up. So it's like, hey, it's the kind of secret that no one bothers to find out isn't.
Population. End quote. The method? AI-powered bots that have subtly subverted and steered culture towards nefarious ends.
Like, people need to be steered towards that. Perfectly recreated Metal Gear Solid 2 because it would be the Patriots. It definitely looks like this is all bullshit, but the kind of bullshit that seems like it became real.
It would be impossible to validate the most paranoid claims in the post, but others now seem obviously, viscerally true. The internet does feel empty now, doesn't it? Dead. Nothing to see. Nothing to do. The internet may seem gigantic, but it's like a hot air balloon. Nothing inside. This progenitor of a famous conspiracy theory doesn't sound so crazy anymore.
Anymore? No, and that's the crazy part about this. And especially since DARPA created the internet. Or, well, sort of. It was a mix of CERN, DARPA, Capitol Hill funding, and a lot of countries that were trying to use it for military matters as a quick reaction. I'm not sure they were actually working in conjunction or what time they started compiling things together, but it did happen in weird ways where they were kind of all working on similar processes. Although it is completely on my detriment. I don't actually know what time those similar processes they were working on did combine into the internet we know today. I know they all went into it, though, somehow. Need to look that up more.
It was just posted too early. If it was written after the Cambrian explosion of generative AI in our information ecosystem, it may have even been celebrated as a great cultural insight. While an Illuminati-style global gaslighting campaign still seems unlikely, the evidence that the internet may have slipped out of human control is everywhere. Simply put, most website visitors are not humans. In 2016, the security firm Imperva...
Oh yeah, because bot activity was keeping up early on. And 51.8% of all online traffic? I mean, take every percentage, every reference with a grain of salt, because metrics could be wrong, people's information can be wrong. But just in their sample size, if they're not just BSing, that's a lot.
Released a report that found
also
that
AIs
bots
can just move faster,
were
or bots can
responsible
move
for
faster.
over half of all web traffic. The report also found that every third visit to any website on the internet is probably from a malicious attack bot. GitHub says AI helps their programmers write up to 30% of their code. The company Cybra estimated that...
No, wait, what did they just say? 30% of new code? Suggested the company AI programming tool Copilot. Oh god, that piece of shit. Sorry, every time I say any single AI writing something, it looks good until you actually need to really dig down into what it's writing. Because it's good in the same way a first grader writing a coherent paragraph is good. It's way more than they should. But as soon as you need specific knowledge, they seem to fall off. It's why there was actually a really fascinating and moderately terrifying test recently where I'm pretty sure it was law school or med school. I don't remember which one, but there was a university that had online classes being taken on the undergraduate level by an AI, and it did great. But when it moved to more advanced classes that need very specific, not publicly accessible information, completely broke up. Now, whether that information was publicly accessible or not is the defining factor. I don't know. It could be that it was regurgitating the lesson. It could be there was things outside of it. It could be that it wasn't able to put the information together correctly. If it's anything other than putting the information together, that's actually horrible for humans because it means we'll be replaced. If it is, it also is horrible for humans because we'll be using the thing that can't replace us thinking it can. Now, this is getting depressing fast.
Estimated that before Elon Musk took over, between 11 and 13% of Twitter accounts were bots.
Only?
And were responsible for a disproportionate amount of the content.
Yeah.
YouTube engineers coined the term...
I mean, using bots on Twitter just to make funny joke accounts to repost things you like cat pictures, sloth pictures, random bullshit that's highly charged and you probably shouldn't do, except it's a bot doing it. They just put blatant statements out there that cover everything they want to say, but mean absolutely nothing. You know, the standard uses. There was also one that just posted pictures of sloths every day, which is kind of awesome.
The inversion, to describe the looming point at which fake views would surpass real ones. Google is currently worried that its world-changing search algorithm will drown in the current tidal wave of
this is the idea that Google's worried about their search is hilarious because it's horrible. Everything that made Google is shit now. It's not a good search engine. Not even going into their usage of AI, which told people to eat rocks and pizza with glue. That was a thing that actually has documentation showing it. But also because they've been prioritizing bot farm content. So even when you don't have an AI search, it mostly brings up AI content that's been specifically spammed to fit what Google is looking to push. So your results are usually kind of bad. In some cases, it's really good, but in a lot of cases, if you're going with a clean attachment, a clean link into it, without any prior cookies or their own knowledge of the person using it, which is a thing they save, then it's just going to feed you what it thinks is best. What it thinks is best is usually shit, without your previous search history to give them an indication what you're looking for. And even then, they're still going to give you the ads first, because that's how they make money. And then the ads that they don't tell you are ads, but are actually ads as well, because they paid higher in search statistics.
AI-generated content and become far less useful, if at all.
Accurate.
You see examples of these takeovers already happening on Facebook, where images of a crustacean-adjacent Jesus Christ have been going viral and garnering hundreds of millions of engagements.
Why? Oh, bots. That's why. Yeah.
The comments on these posts leave little room for hope that the internet can be revived.
I think the internet was terminally ill before ChatGPT was announced and released.
Internet historian?
I
Oh
think
God,
the
we have
biggest
historians of
watershed
that.
moment when you look at this sort of theory of the decaying internet is the release of algorithmic feeds. I think that algorithmic ranking systems that are AI-driven really set the stage for just endless worthless pieces of content and sort of just the whole internet to be optimized in the most absurd ways.
But the internet is not just social media, even if it feels that way. And the bots have infiltrated there too. You can buy AI-generated poetry online. You can watch films with silicon screenwriters. You can listen to...
Wait, they already have silicon screen... What? A podcast with AI-generated Steve Jobs raises ethical concerns. And depending on who's putting it out there, there's also the entire Apple will sue you concerns. Because I'm pretty sure if they haven't bought a part of his family's rights to him, I would be surprised at this point. Because money.
A podcast with dead celebrities. You can read the news reported by your favorite neural network spawn. You can be unsettled by the first music video.
Indie artist washed out. New music video is fully AI generated. Honestly, if you're going to be creeped out, AI video is the right play to do it because it's kind of creepy and disturbing regardless what you do. So that's probably the best usage for it, actually.
Generated via artificial brain. Generative AI, like ChatGPT, is the reason why, if the internet isn't dead and devoid of people already, it soon will be. A blurry landscape of AI and human interaction, as one paper calls it.
Oh, so that's interesting. So I thought it was AI talking to AI, but that does seem to be a part of it. But the bigger part is more that it's people talking to AI who thought they were human, so there's no actual human interaction. And what you see is comments between AI. So even when you try and reach out to someone, which what we thought is the best way to use the internet, maybe like 20 years ago before reality decided that was too pleasant, it seems like that's not even a possibility anymore because you're reaching out to the bots. And of course, someone is running the bots, so they have an agenda, and then that's what they're trying to do, usually money related.
Jesus is obviously fake.
Yeah.
Other content isn't so obvious. Fake images routinely fool millions of people and make headlines.
People thought that was real?
Manipulated content creates what's trending. Malicious AI...
Wait. What? There was a fake Zuckerberg? Fans thirst over Photoshop picture of Mark Zuckerberg with a beer. Oh, God, I hate everything I just said him. Admittedly, Kind of looks like Ryan Reynolds' face with Mark Zuckerberg's hair and eyes.
It's trending. Malicious AI creations force the hands of platforms and governments alike. You can easily create entirely fake subreddits where...
Look at these two humans that arrived at the human waste room. I mean, this is probably more humane than anything else HR ever did before. I know what I said. And there's probably a lot of people who never questioned it anyways. Yeah.
Where every post and comment and reply is AI generated.
Subreddit
you can create
simulator.
an infinite amount of music without an ounce of human creativity.
Data bots?
This live stream...
Oh god, are they really... Network generating technical death metal via live stream 24/7 to infinity. Relentless doppelganger. What? From the data bots. How many people are actually watching that? 12,000 likes. One person watching, though. But this is in 2019. I'm not sure which part this is weirder. The fact that has 12,000 likes, only one person watching, 30,000 people subscribe to an AI-generated feed. The fact that it's probably an absolutely brilliant usage of money if they can make more than their subscription to whatever generative process is making it, or their electronic subscription. I'm assuming it's a subscription model because everything seems to be nowadays. Or just the price of electricity. Or that by calling it data bots, it's both a play on DATA, data, or dada, which is an artistic style of, fuck it all, we're going to show the ridiculous nature of this insanity. I don't know which way it would go. And frankly, I'm hoping it's the ridiculous one because that makes it funny as opposed to fundamentally disturbing.
Stream of generative heavy metal music has been playing nonstop since 2019.
Yeah.
Even an internet-enabled job like Instagram influencing is trivially easy to emulate. And if any of these recent phenomena are still...
And they just had Miss AI Universe or Miss AI World, was an actual thing people actually sign up for, and someone won. Someone. Yeah. I hate everything about this.
Still in the uncanny valley for you, and you think you can identify them. Soon you won't be able to. Very soon. If I were to add anything to dead internet theory, it would be that the public release of ChatGPT specifically was a watershed moment.
Yep.
And not a positive.
No, that's probably when I heard
its
about
release
this
and record-breaking adoption both created enormous economic incentive for every knowledge work industry on Earth to...
Wait, how much? Launched 3.5 sprints to 1 billion users. Time it took for selected online service to reach 1 million. Netflix, 3.5. Kickstarter, 2.5. Airbnb, 2.5. Twitter, 2. Foursquare, I think that's a shopping app. 13. Facebook, 10. Dropbox, 7. Spotify, 7. ChatGPT, 5 days. Instagram doesn't count because it was based on Facebook. Well, no, actually, they were separate, and then they were bought later. Huh. Weird. Good on them. Spotify, music, it's a thing. It's probably more the Napster crowd who moved on to the Spotify after they had decades of nothing really working. Although I'm actually not sure. 2008 is when Spotify came out. Yeah, there was about a decade there. 5 days. That's nothing.
Create and incorporate generative AI into their businesses, turbocharging the technology, and allowed anyone with any intention, good or bad, to create bottomless pits of lifeless digital corpses. At scale for next to nothing.
Need to show that your idea has merit and there's a ton of people supporting you? Make them up with AI and then push it out. This is one of those times where it's like, you know what? I'm okay with having left Twitter and completely abandoned Facebook for a couple years now. I'm okay with this decision. Let loose.
According to Timothy Shoup of the Copenhagen Institute for Future Studies, quote, in the scenario where ChatGPT gets loose, the internet would be completely unrecognizable, end quote. And in such...
One, I'm pretty sure the internet's already unrecognizable. If you really think about what it is, it's just off-brand. Lots and lots of off-brand with sections of people trying to sell you something.
Scenario shoot
Usually they
says
overlap.
99 to 99.9% of online content might be AI generated by
Because it's
2025.
faster and cheaper.
Unfortunately, this is the scenario we're living in. That's just months from now. The internet died not because...
Fuck, that's what, 6 months from now? And absolutely nothing here is making me think this isn't going to be the case. And if there's one thing reality has proven, that's probably a conservative estimate of time, and it's probably way faster.
Because people can be fooled by manipulated media. That's always been true.
Yep.
It died because synthetic media, like that created by Sora, ChatGPT, DALL-E, Midjourney, and others, can emulate human creativity at a scope and scale that is impossible for humans to engage with.
I wouldn't say it does it at the scope and scale. It's more it does it at the cost and quantity. Because a lot of their stuff is directly ripped from other people and reinterpreted. So it's not actually creating anything new. It's just reimagining, which is something people do as well. Most Renaissance artists did exactly that, of just copying the people before them and then slightly changing it as they became allowed to because their patrons were okay with that. So it's not exactly a new process, but it's just the sheer quantity they could put out will overwhelm anything a person would need to do because time. It's just time.
Or sift through. After its initial release, ChatGPT was creating more synthetic text for its users than appears in all physical books ever written every 2 weeks. We've already prognosticated the tremendous effect on the knowledge work landscape.
Chart of 20 jobs that ChatGPT-4 can potentially replace, and the human traits being replaced. Data entry clerk, speed and accuracy, which admittedly, I give it the first one. The accuracy, that's always been a problem with GPT. It's accurate until it's not, and then you really have problems. Customer service, communication, and I would never say empathy on either side. Proofreader. If you trust an AI to proofread your stuff, that's great. Have a real person do it after that. Because again, the problem with ChatGPT, the problem with every bot isn't the bot. It's that when it hallucinates, it goes really off the walls, man. So I could see this being a massive issue. Oh, I think I see where this is going. It's great until it's really not. And when it's really not, we've already fired the people who could fix it. Ooh, yeah, this is going to be a problem.
We've already seen an explosion of synthetic media that targets our most vulnerable. All of this technology, backed by huge economic incentive, is only going to get better and faster and less identifiable. It will get to the point where not even your own friends and family will be able to tell the difference between you and your synthetic. That's why Scarlett Johansson, who famously voiced an AI in the movie Her, had to pursue legal action against OpenAI, the developer of ChatGPT.
And they actually did have a different actress doing the voice. And frankly, her lawsuit would have probably failed, except Sam Altman posted about her. And I think that was the only statement when the AI voice came out. So it's like just an intentional rip on the fact that she turned down that process. Because they were going to hire her. Not with enough money. She said no. Unless I'm misremembering something else, which is entirely possible. But yeah, a lot of her actually winning this came from Sam Altman's own words being used against him.
They used a simulacrum of Johansson's voice in their 4.0
it was an actual person
model,
recording it, though.
even after she explicitly declined.
Yeah, they did actually have a person recording the voice.
Oh, Rocky, that's quite a statement piece. I mean, you'll definitely stand out.
Everyone thought it was her.
That's why they did it too.
So many of us have turned off our lights in the dark
forest of the clear web, inhabited by data scavengers, ad tech, marketers, and trolls. Enter with caution. And honestly, I think the trolls are probably the safest ones there. They're just out to be assholes, and you can see it right away. Email, newsletters, and RSS feeds. Scam. scam, and I have no idea what those are because I try to avoid them. Digital gardens, unpolished, loosely organized notes published on personal wikis, tended over time as evolving knowledge base. Cozy web, gatekeeper, protected enclaves, communities compromised like-minded folks around niche interests, run through chat streams like WhatsApp, Slack, Discord, Snapchat, etc. Oh, so it's everyone, your own little thing that you just take care of yourself, contact with other people through it, and then where you start to self-select, so it's real people as far as you know, and you got the little ChatGPT symbol right in the middle. Onion routers in the dark web, the only way to 8chan. Dark web, internet undergrowth and decomposing morals. Honestly, I think that one should be way higher up.
Forest internet. It's a wilderness of bots and unsettlingly human text and deepfakes and bad actors. We stay siloed in our Discords and Slacks and Substacks and podcast forums and newsletters because the internet is not only dead, it is dark and full of terrors.
And that's where this becomes the dead internet, because where you thought you were interacting with people is where it's now bots posting because they got in to what are essentially gatekeeper locations. Yeah.
What was first conceived as a conspiracy theory by world governments to control the population came true. Not because DARPA or the CIA deemed it so.
Although, let's be completely honest here, the CIA would love if they had actually done that on purpose. There's no doubt someone out there is going like, damn you, Altman! If there's not at least one person who's done that, I would be a little surprised. Maybe not in the context I made, but it's probably been said.
But because some tech bros in California recklessly released a self-improving, revolutionary, universally applicable technology to hundreds of millions of people without our consent.
The goal of the internet was to connect the world in this sort of beautiful vision of building a more interconnected society, which would...
I've heard her, not her, but this sentiment she's saying multiple times. And it's both fascinating because it's so hopeful. It's like, have you ever imagined a time when you could listen to old school Star Trek and hear the hope they describe that they can build that utopian future where people just don't become assholes? Not new Star Trek, and by new, I'm going 2000 plus. I'm talking when TNG, The Next Generation, was considered the new Star Trek. When Kirk was still considered, whoa, that's pretty recent. And the level of sci-fi sophistication that we're from a more enlightened future. Everything's good, and we had some bad times, but we pulled ourselves above it and came together and made a great world. And just the sheer hopefulness in that is the same I'm hearing here, and it hurts for the same reason. It's like listening to a kid talk about how they love insert random thing here you know is all fake and it hurts. And how they really love Santa. Which, for anyone wondering why I just said it that way, I have no idea why. And if there's any kids watching who may or may not be related to me and their mothers may or may not find out I said this, I have no idea what you're talking about, Susan. I have no idea. There's nothing there. Please don't let Timmy know. Yeah.
Theoretically be a beautiful and amazing thing. And I think where we went wrong is when it started to get warped by this really hyper-capitalist tech environment that we live in. And so you started to see these giant social media companies come and disrupt things. Now we're in sort of the natural endpoint of that, where they've...
So it got shit because money. This is shocking, I say, shocking.
Push so hard into the algorithmic world that everything has to be optimized to the point that everything's just going to be AI-generated garbage, basically feeding each other.
Losing the internet to bots and synthetic media is more consequential than losing the fun of their early web.
Deep fakes, the coming info apocalypse. Oh, infocalypse. Hell of a name. And you can see how it degenerates as it goes. Good image. And the crazy part is, deepfakes weren't even the really bad one. It's everything that came right after this.
It's an epistemological threat. As Nina Schick writes in Deepfakes, The Coming Infocalypse, it's an old Russian disinformation tactic to not just flood an information ecosystem with false information, but with information generally. Once there is too much noise in the signal, people start to tune out. They trust media less and less, as sorting and sifting through it all requires more and more cognitive effort. They don't engage as much in the democratic process. They turn towards strongmen. They turn towards conspiracy. They turn against expertise and facts and authority when nothing is true or cannot be judged to be so.
Then everything could be.
This is what generative AI has done, and it's done it all by itself without any help from the KGB.
Bad actors can now manipulate large swaths of people to do anything you want. You don't realize it, but you are being programmed.
Unforeseen consequences. If he's not touching on my idea earlier about how replacing everyone in a job would eventually lead to the job falling apart when the AI breaks, I would be very happy, because I would like that to be an unfounded, completely random, insane theory I brought up. And I don't want to be right. I would love that to be stupid. And for people in the comments to go, Airier, what the hell? That's stupid, man. Please. I would actually appreciate that right now. I thought this would be like a fun romp through this. Like, yeah, it's fucked up, but here's what's probably going to happen. Like, you know what? It's called the dead internet theory. I should have known better coming into this. This one's on me. And unfortunately on everyone else, because I don't think we got a choice in the matter anymore. Because the money is still on making these decisions.
If it feels like the internet is more than just dead, that it's dangerous, that's because it is. According to an observatory report from the Europol Innovation Lab, quote, today, threat actors are using disinformation campaigns and deepfake content to misinform the public about events, to influence politics and elections, to contribute to fraud, and to manipulate shareholders. Many organizations have now begun to see deepfakes as an even bigger potential risk than identity theft.
Yeah, because identity theft you can have some leeway to fix. It's shit and it's bad, but we know how to get around some of those issues, to find the person, to get your stuff settled. And usually, if they put a lot of shit on you, you can at least claim that it's not you by showing that it's not you. Sometimes. In a deepfake, say they made a hyper-realistic press release of someone saying that they're going to be scaling down their operations. And, for example, let's say Intel decided they put out a press release, but right before it came out, a deepfake of whoever's in charge, I think it's Jensen Huang in charge of Intel. No, not Intel. That'd be NVIDIA, bigger company. And that's a weird thing to say still. Would come out and say, hey, yeah, we're not going to do customer level GPUs anymore. And we're not even going to, we're moving away from AI. We think we need to return back to a simpler CPU design. Does any of that make sense? No, neither from a money standpoint or from the fact that I don't think NVIDIA does anything to do with CPU at all. Probably, maybe, software, I don't know. But it wouldn't matter because so much of their money is based on AI design. It's based on server processes for companies and designs that can do that level of work, that putting this out looking realistic enough would probably tank their stock. And then they'd have to spend time and money and effort to program or correct the programming to show that, no, this is what we're actually doing. So it would have massive immediate consequences for the people who saw it and believed it. And while I'm sure they'd be fine because they're a massive company, that same thing played to anyone smaller who might not be seen compared to the more salacious initial fake would be damaging. Or if you just want to show that, well, I didn't actually say this horribly insert random terrible thing they did here video. That was the deep fake all along, and here's the real one, which then deep fake to show them not doing that. The fact that that hasn't happened more often, I'd be surprised about.
End quote. A dead internet makes it easier to harass, extort, create non-consensual pornography, disrupt financial markets, stoke political unrest, and more. The efforts to...
I mean, that's... what he just said there is unfortunately already happening. Harass, mutilate, extort. The most common thing you could do is get a picture of someone, put it into a deepfake to create pornography of someone, and then send that to the person saying, I have this of you. Pay me or I put it out. And due to no fault of that person's own, other than they have their face online somewhere, maybe they put it out, maybe someone else took a picture of them, it doesn't matter. They're going to fall into that without having done anything wrong on their end. And that's the least disturbing usage in this criminal context. And I'm not going to go into the others because it's not even a YouTube thing. I just don't want to talk about it because I don't like them to the point of just not finding it worthwhile to bring up. Someone probably is thinking, well, what if they... And you know what? You're probably right. I'm going to stop right there.
And more. The efforts to regulate the proliferation and use of generative AI are, as could be expected, lagging far behind the adoption and expression of the technology. Do we need an international agency to deal with this? Do we need new privacy laws?
We won't get them. Hell, the EU's already trying, and they're probably going to fail just because they can't enforce penalties big enough to generate the change they want versus what the companies can make otherwise. The money is not there.
Where is the technology that can identify bots and deepfakes as quickly as they can be generated?
There is a company doing that. Unfortunately, the money is also there for them to be beaten. So, yeah.
Is AI art real art? Is synthetic music real music? Is anyone alive out there?
Think about where we're going to be in 10 years and just how easy it will be to generate content at scale, and what sort of systems we'll build to navigate those pieces of content. I just think it's going to be a completely different internet. So I do think that the internet that we probably grew up with, like the original version of the web, the human version of the web, is dead.
You know, I always thought the impending robot takeover would be Terminator style, because sure, that sounds fun. Freedom fighters going against them and the machines eventually being beaten before having to send one that looks suspiciously like Arnold Schwarzenegger Back to the Past. Why not? It's fun. It's great. I'm sure it doesn't involve anything horrible happening. And yet we're seeing the impending robot apocalypse happening, not because the AI is taking over, but because we keep putting it in charge.
We're in a dangerous spot. Like how history can be meaningfully split into the time before nuclear weapons and the time after.
Or the printing press. Yeah.
Generative AI and the death of the internet seems like it will be another historical delineation. They are both technologies that instantly changed the world. It mattered who had them and who developed them. Both were tested without public consent, both with extreme criticism. Regulations for each were slow or too...
Facebook lunatics are making AI-generated pictures of cops carrying Bibles through floods go viral? What? Yeah, I'm going back to the landlord one because I just want to read that because it's less disturbing.
Regulations for each were slow. Consent mattered who had them.
Landlords are now using AI to harass you for rent and refuse to fix your appliances. Slumlords, yeah. Also, there are competing bots you can use to harass your landlords to fix your appliances. Leading into what I thought the dead internet theory was going to become, bots talking at each other and not actually doing anything.
And who developed them? Both were tested without public consent, both with extreme criticism. Enormous power in the hands of just a few people.
And voice as well.
Both rendered certain previous technologies obsolete.
They're showing a demo
And that's what I just realized the entire 90s aesthetic is because the initial premise of the conspiracy theory is that the internet's dead and we're living in the 90s essentially. Which is probably a joke around, hey, we're in the Matrix, but turned out real.
Both have the power to obliterate whole populations, whether they be physical or digital.
With generative AI, we can do it a lot better.
Generative AI is the nuclear bomb of the information age.
And it's detonating.
The internet may not be dead in the way the original conspiracy theory claimed. It may not even be dead in the way that I claim here.
The moment you look back on this conspiracy theory, which was definitely a joke, and you realize it was also being optimistic because it thought people would still be responsible for it, even if it was just responsible in making sure the worst possible outcome happened, as opposed to we did it ourselves, and it sucks.
But what seems indisputable is that the internet has changed for the worse. It doesn't feel as fun. or as creative.
Wait, what did that say? Why, what does what? Why Twitch plays Pokemon is literally the best thing ever. An old post originally published on Blastoclips, but it's pretty relevant today. We're all on the internet together, feeling pretty down about collective action existence. In uncategorized by DS Leon. This was AI generated, wasn't it?
Or as creative, or as connecting, or as endlessly interesting. Generative AI has come along with a good enough simulacrum of human intelligence and poisoned the well.
Oh, that looks so
How
wrong.
we purify it, I don't know. Rapid, large-scale government regulation feels heavy-handed, but necessary.
Yeah, but also, do you think that's going to happen? Because the money is on doing it. And that's always a good indication of how things are going to go down.
There haven't been many ways historically.
And by doing it, I mean doing the generative AI process, not stopping it.
To fight meaningfully against massive economic incentives
Hey!
that generative AI has.
Wish he hadn't said that. I agree,
this is
but
just another warning. A warning from someone who lives on the internet and can see its headstone from here.
Alternate title to this video, The Cassandra Effect. Seeing the coming trouble and listening and knowing no one is going to listen.
Until next time.
Or no one else. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I now feel like shit because this makes a lot of sense and it doesn't seem like it's even a theory anymore. It's just an accurate representation of the trajectory we're on. Don't you just hate it when wacky video game generated conspiracy theories are looked at by someone with money and goes, the Terminator franchise had Skynet. I should make a theory. No, a company named Skynet as well to make AI because this couldn't go bad. And then shit like this happens. And yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the worst timeline we're living in. It sucks. If you like this video, why? 2, there's a link below to Kyle Hill's video. I've checked out a lot of his stuff over a long period of time at this point, and he does great work. He has a lot of information, and it's well-sourced, which is why this is so disturbing to me, because he was well-sourced and put out exactly a lot of other people who were putting out their own information about this, and I trust his resources enough to not believe this isn't dead eye or dead AI talking about a dead AI theory, which would be something I could dismiss. Unfortunately, I don't think it is, so I can't, and it makes it worse. I'm going to go pet kittens, maybe like hug my wife or something, because at this point, yeah. I'll see you guys in the next one. Links below. Hit them up. Leave a like, subscribe. See you later, guys. Adios.